up like if you want it. Come and get it, this is for the real. This for my people. I'ma give it, you don't have to take it. This is for the real who never fake it. My people. It's been a long time coming. I spent a long time running, grinding, and finding it's harder every day. Go deep into the mind of an overthinker sitting on the.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be sitting down with a wonderful leader doing great things for our people over here in America. He is Chief Elder John Henry over our Salva community in America, of all places. Please remember this show is not scripted, and we hope that you enjoy it. Thank you.
The things that we are facing, we have to face, and like you said, we have to come to the round table. Me and my chief has created an organization back in June the 16th, 2016. And it's called Save Our Youth and Family Annual March. We are a 501c3 or nonprofit organization. Well, my team of 12 members at that time, we was working with the National Council of Elders. And
the National Black Council of Elders?
Yeah, the National Black Council of Elders. And my team created an economic development plan for the whole state of South Carolina. And that targets our people specifically. Since I am the Omachi of the whole state of South Carolina, that means the great one, the chief elder, my time is very present and is on time. And I say that because I'm only 63 years old. So I say young.
Yeah, you look young too. Yeah, look like a young, strong brother.
and yes, and let me tell you, when you hear the full story, we could be here until the next morning, but I try to keep it as short as possible to the point.
Yeah.
And when me and my chiefess got married in Utica, New York, she is originally from Charleston, South Carolina, which is a little small community called McClennisville. And that's in the middle of Georgetown and Charleston. And so moving forward, when we got married, and now my people, my grandparents are from Clarendon County, which is Manning and Sumter area. And so out of 5 brothers and 3 sisters, I'm the 4th oldest. Now I'm the 3rd oldest because one of my brothers passed away, transition. So it led me on a path being brought up in a Baptist home and then joining the Nation of Islam. It took me on a spiritual quest journey to define basically my identity, who I am, who I'm representing.
Yeah.
And at that time, being brought up under my mother's wings in a Baptist home, understanding Christianity and everything, I had to give my parents the utmost respect because I was up under their wings. Yeah. My mom, she, single parent, raised 8 head of kids. And so by being in South Carolina, it allowed me to do extensive research on our culture and my family tree. And come to find out, my great uncle, his name is Gilbert Henry. You can Google this out of South Carolina. Clarendon County.
That's a familiar name.
They are the ones, him, and I think it was maybe 12 other members of an AME church that started the Board of Education Brown versus Wade integration into the schools. So that was my great uncle. And so I'm putting everything together to see exactly where do I get my courage and my strength from. And so moving forward with the Council of Elders, we created that economic development plan because I said, wait a minute. When I listen to my master teachers, there's 12 of them. You may know some of them. Professor James Smalls, out of Georgetown, South Carolina. Brilliant professor, brilliant that knows our culture, our history, and the grassroots of South Carolina with the Gullah Geechee people. And Professor James Smalls and Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Ben, some of them that transitioned already. Dr. Jeffries, which is a wonderful, wonderful teacher. So I adopted, and they adopted me and put me up under their wings of protection and guidance, proper guidance. And so moving forward, I've been doing extensive research over the last 23 years. And some of them is mind-boggling. And I said, wait a minute. If this is all 100% authentic, because see, I had to get validation for myself. No more he say, she say. I had to get validation for myself so that I'll be able to speak it with authority.
Yeah.
And so getting confirmation of what my master teachers had shared with me several nights up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, steady researching, doing documentation. And it comes to find out that even during the civil rights era, I said, wait a minute, I'm just now getting on the scene. And all this facts, investigation and research is authentic. It's written in stone that goes back over 10,000 years ago out of Kemet in Africa. And I'm saying somebody dropped the ball, and I say because and I say this to our elders that came before me, with great honor, that why was we so stuck on our culture and not what was really going on? Because it was seem like some of the information that I had uncovered, it was like from secret societies, the Illuminati and Skull and Bones and
the Freemasons.
Yeah, and being a Freemasons, you can put a little bit out, but you can't really say exactly unless you're following in those ranks. And so, but all this coming into full circle of what you were just speaking a few minutes ago, that is going on with the abandoned houses and everybody is relocating and things like that. And that was set up by design. So once I found out what I needed to find out, I mean, it changed my whole life completely. And being a grandfather of 15 grandkids and 6 great-grand, I said I have to make my mark and try to pass down my legacy when it's time of information out so that they can stand on their square, how the Masons say it.
Yeah.
And so being in South Carolina, after coming out of Utica, New York, and coming south, past south of the border, that's when my life really started to change. Because I had this one guy, me and my my chief was walking, and I said, "Good morning," and he knew off the rip that I wasn't from South Carolina, and I took it kind of a little bit offensive, but I laughed. He said, "You a Yankee?" You know, like that right off the bat. So I looked at my wife. She looked at me and said, what do you call me?" She said, "Oh, you a Yankee." Otherwise, he'll call me a nigger. Where he used the terminology as Yankee.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, it blew me kind of out of the water. And because we was coming across south of the border, that we end up in Charleston at the Battery. And so we were just walking down the boulevard. And one thing that, I mean, out of everything, one thing that I felt a very high energy was the South Carolina trees. I mean, I just fell in love with the trees there. The way that you could see the arms of the tree is touch the ground and then it comes up. And I mean, just if you ever been in Charleston and you see some of the old trees, how the arms and the limbs, you know, they go in different directions, you know, and so coming out of New York, you just see the regular pine. You don't see no pine trees. You see the other trees that turn colors in the season time. But I was just amazed. She said, my wife says, I never seen somebody fall in love with trees. And I went and grabbed the tree and hugged the tree. And I felt the energy like I never felt before in my life. And it was like the ancestors, that spirit, their energy was living inside of the tree. So my chiefess was explaining, she said, some of these trees, our ancestors are buried up under the tree because it was part of a tradition when one transitioned to plant a tree, you know, over that grave site. And I mean, it was just overwhelming. But I was full of joy and happiness. And so as that day went on, we did a little boat ride and everything. And we ended up returning back to Georgetown. And after, I mean, we was like up like 12 hours straight. And I said, I think we need to start making ourselves across the Cooper River Bridge before it gets too late. Because I'm just now getting used to South Carolina. And so moving forward with the Council of Elders, I said that there's a time that's coming that we are going to have to make some great sacrifices in order to get to the next level where we should have been at 50 years ago, maybe 100 years ago, giving honor and respect to Martin Luther King that gave us a dream. But my Uncle Gilbert, he actually done something that caused everybody worldwide to integrate into the schools. Even though now I know that that was the worst thing that ever happened to us as a people, because we come from royalty. You know, we come from creative ancestors well over 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And I talk with a lot of bishops and pastors and ministers, and I tell them that over in Kemet, I said, you'll see the pyramids of our ancestors that they had built, master builders. And for us to be indoctrinated respectfully into a religion that doesn't have anything to do with our culture at all. And so it was like we were stripped not only from our culture, our language, and our land, we were just stripped and didn't know at that time that everything was set up and designed just to do what it was meant to do and designed to do. Perfect example. Coming up in the 50s and through the 70s, the race war between blacks and white. That was a program that was set in place to keep us distracted from doing research and understanding who we are because of that era of racism and lynching, mainly in North Carolina and South Carolina and different places of Mississippi and Tennessee and Oklahoma. But we was never aware of our greatness. We never got this information or was educated into grade school, senior school, and high school about our culture. Some of the main thing, at least for me speaking, and I know several others, that they always taught us about Christopher Columbus discovering America. You know what I'm saying? That all that European image was like, it was embedded into our mindset, and it really blinded us because we end up being indoctrinated into a religion that was deceiving it to the utmost. And then moving forward, our parents have children. We are the next generation of that children, and we are indoctrinated into that educational system and into that religion system as well. And so it was like somebody dropped the ball, because great rewards do take great sacrifices. I really understand that. If ain't nobody else can really understand it, I can understand.
Right now is a great time to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
And so when we created the economic development plan for the state of South Carolina, specifically for our people, our culture in the state of South Carolina, I knew that was going to be a battle. I went to Black Senator Saab, and I'm not holding back no names. You see what I'm saying? Because I called them out. All of them out. And by him being one of the first minority senators in the office, I took that plan to him. Now, mind you, that our ancestors already gave me the energy and the knowledge to know exactly what he was going to say. But yet, by me going into his office, that was going to be his conviction because it came out through his mouth, through his tongue.
Yeah.
And he said off the rip, after he looked at the 32-page documents, and he said, they're not going to allow you to do that here. And I looked at him. I wanted to jump across that desk. And I said, respectfully, this will be a package that when you decide to rerun for election, you could have carve a notch in your belt, and this will show proof and evidence of what you've been doing or what we've been doing. You see what I'm saying? To change some of the history of the state of South Carolina. Now, if it wasn't for our people in the state of South Carolina wouldn't be as rich as it is this very day with the rice fields and the cotton fields and indigo. You know, it was our people, the one that set precedents with the rice fields that brought in millions and millions of dollars, and the cotton fields, millions and millions of dollars, and, you know, created jobs that we didn't even really get paid for, you know, from 4:30 in the morning until way in the late of the evenings in the fields. Our ancestors were singing them African spiritual songs that kept them moving and motivating through 110-degree sun at 11 o'clock in the morning, you know. And so I said, well, my organization, we created it and we're going to push it. I was looking for a high hope that you would have been a little bit more understanding and willing to take on this task. Now, one of the high person, James Clyburn, they call him the Whip. He's one of the quote unquote hot dogs in Columbia, South Carolina. Back in 2009, when we had our first Henry's family reunion in Santee, South Carolina, he wrote out a pamphlet in honor of our great uncle Gilbert Henry, and I lost my copy of it, but yet I said, wait a minute. In Columbia, at the House of Representatives on the West Wing, it's called the Wall of Shame, and it got statues embedded into a carving of Jim Crow, the Jim Crow era. And I wish I was better prepared to have a slide and do a proper presentation so that you can see it visually. And I said, well, how come my uncle, Gilbert Henry, is not embedded on that wall or have a separate space there? And this is all going around the time they was taking down the Confederate flags in the state of South Carolina that caused a little bit of uproar. And me and my team, we was working with James Clyburn to get a statue in honor of our uncle. So a lot of pieces were starting to come in place of how discrimination and racism really truly exists in the state of South Carolina. And I remind you that I'm coming out of New York, Utica, New York, outside of Syracuse, where that town was basically minorities. Well, we was using the terminology of Black and Italians. A few Irish people, but mostly it was predominantly Black and Italians. And they used to call it the Handshake City. I never faced it racism.
Wow.
I never in my life faced it. I heard certain things on TV, but it just didn't resonate. Because when I went to get on the bus to go to school or go downtown, I wasn't told, hey, go to your place, go in the back of the bus. You know what I'm saying? We went willingly because we like and enjoyed that bumpy ride going downtown or going to school. And there wasn't places in our schools or in the shopping centers that, okay, it's a white faucet, water faucet here, or a white bathroom, a colored bathroom, or you had to go in the back to some of these restaurants as it used to be in South Carolina. So it was like everything was changing. Everything was being stripped. Everything was being tangled and untangled, but my eyes was wide open. And I never, even to this day, um, have ever disrespected anyone. Anyone. You know, even my wife used to get upset. She used to say, I can't even tell if you mad because you always kept a smile on your face. You know, say, and it used to make her even more upset with because she was serious and I was smiling. You know, so moving forward, South Carolina is a great, awesome place as well as North Carolina. Now, James Clyburn, back in 2009, he opened up the Gullah Geechee corridor. They said that he was fighting for that for years, and that starts from Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way up to Jacksonville, Florida. Now we know off the record that territory goes much further, but far as documentation and being on the records in the state at the state capitol in Columbia, it was an official document that's given that territory all rights to that territory of indigenous people, the original people of the land. And so, but yet we don't benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? I left out another thing industry that was booming, that still to this day is booming in South Carolina, that brought a lot of tourists to the state of South Carolina, and that is the sweetgrass baskets. I mean, they take the certain grass weeds that this weed basket, and that was passed down from tradition to tradition. And you can find some of the baskets as small as my hand. They can go for like hundreds of dollars, and the biggest they go, I seen a big basket went for $25,000. And trust me, it didn't sit out long. And at that time on the highway 17 South going into Charleston, it was only two lanes. It was one lane coming in and one lane coming out. And to this day, now you got four lanes going in and four lanes coming out. But on the sides of the roads, that's where you see our people made shelter. I call them something like a lean-to. It just has the sides, the back, and the top where they can sit, out there weaving the baskets, and people just passing by, driving by, they pull over. It's mainly the Europeans buy those baskets, and the guys, some of the guys made roses out of the sweetgrass basket. And so that tradition, I mean, it still carry on to this day. And my chiefess said her great aunt was trying to teach her how to do it, but she didn't have the time and the patience to sit still and watch her to bake. I said, you could have been making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So my experience in South Carolina, it took me by storm, but I knew that by doing the research that I had to stick to my guns. I said, I can't come out and just don't say anything. I ran for state house representative back in 2013 and came into second place. My opponent, he didn't even come out to the debate because I was going to chew him up. And when I seen him a couple months later, now he been in the seat for over 5 years, and he said, Chief Elder, he said, I had to hand it to you. I said, what is it? He said, you made me spend more money in this campaign than I ever spent in a campaign running for State House Representative. I mean, he had billboards as big as a house, alongside of 17 South. And I told my chief, I said, look at that. I said, this is the first time I ever seen a big sign on him. But see, I was willing to not run a grassroots campaign. That means going door to door to my people, to our people. And I would rather work with them. You see what I'm saying? So that this way, you can keep your seat. I'm not here for that. But if I had to run, I'm going to run it.
Yeah.
And so I said, we can work together and do this and bring this agenda, because when in our mindset, when we hear them talking about agenda, as far as economics, education, and things like that, we automatically, through a program and process of going through different situations, we automatically off the rip think that we gonna benefit from something. You see what I'm saying? But we never did, to this day, had ever benefit from anything from them, because it wasn't set up. It was set up as an illusion and a facade to keep us, how Jesse Jackson say, keep hope alive. Really? Keep hope alive? Well, you don't have to hope if you got knowledge of knowing, because the last time I seen in the Bible, it said our people perish because the lack of knowledge. It doesn't say because the lack of our belief or hope. It said knowledge. Knowledge is knowing. If I hold this cup up and I say this is a blue cup with a black top, you ain't got to hope. You ain't got to believe, because you know that this cup is blue with a black top on it. Yeah. And so, a lot of people say, and Chief Elder, we never in our time hear someone speak with authority. I said, because see, in time, kingdoms rise and kingdoms fall. And I know for a fact that the Creator says, I would never leave you without a comforter, without a messenger. And I banked on that. And I stand witness to the fact that I will not bend, I will not wither, and I will stand fast, because I know the greatest of our ancestors that dwells inside of not just me, inside of all of us. But if a person is not willing to sacrifice it all, don't come out there. Brother Malcolm sacrificed it all. Had his house bombed. He had the courage, and till this day, his spirit still lives on. One of my master teachers out of South Carolina, I spoke with him last night. He sent me a text message about a year ago. He said, Chief, it goes back into your DNA over 1,000 years ago. All your ancestors that ever walked at this earth is inside of your DNA right now to this day. So you know how sometimes when we was coming up as children, at least with my home, My mama used to say, "You act just like your daddy." Get on out of here, boy. Yeah, just like your daddy. So she was remembering how some of the things what my father was saying. And so I'm saying that to say this, that in us, if we are in line and in tune and operating on a much higher vibration and tone and frequency, you will bring out those characters, some of those characters of your ancestors inside of you.
Yeah.
And see, we was given a terminology through this European system of death. Now follow me, because this is how those downloads I received to bring a message so that people can understand and hear and understand where I'm coming from. And the thing that it is that those experiences, I have visions, I have dreams of crying in the night in the fields, and I can hear lashes of our ancestors being whooped by the slave masters. And sometimes I used to weep in my sleep, and my chief, she'll nug me, and she said, "You wouldn't wake up," because I was having what we call now today a Sankofa experience. And see, it comes once in a lifetime, and you have to be chosen by the ancestors to get those spirits, because if we don't dedicate ourselves into doing extensive research, because once I uncovered one lie, one mistruth, that changed my life forever. And so I had to go back to Kemet, to Great Mother Africa, and come to this very first day and time. And as I traveled metaphysically, doing the reading and doing the research on this path here, I see where every stone was unturned. And that's why I tell people, I said, every blood that is wasted on this land is not unturned. It's being noticed. Because Great Mother, our creator, you can call her Allah, you can call it Buddha, you can call it Krishna, you can call it whatever you want to call it. I call her Big Mama. Because Big Mama hears her children crying in the night, crying in the daytime, and all the sacrifices, all the police abuse and mistreatment of our people. And see, in the Bible, it speaks of death. But in Ma'at, it speaks of justice and truth. It speaks of transitioning, because there is no death. There is a transitioning period between this side and the next side. And when I got a hold of that, that gave me some more joy and strength, because I fear no death, because there ain't none. It's just like when a child is born in the world, you come in the world with nothing, you're going to leave out of here with nothing too. And so, but yet it goes into the spiritual realm. And because as what you see in the physical realm, the same thing is going on in the spiritual realm, because there is a war in the spiritual realm as well. And that's good. That'll be a topic that we can use for hopefully for the next speaking. And because I just want to stay, I don't want to go out too far at one time. I want to stay around that same area of economics and what we need to be doing as a people. Because see, We only got one shot at this time. This is what Big Mama tells me. We only got one shot.
Okay, let's pause right here and go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
Yeah, man, them for now can't cool, can't done, and the top of actor style. The trap god, me there, fi sing my song and dash some fire. Follow me now. I stand firm in a Babylon grounds. Jaja give me the words, the powers and sounds. I stand firm in a Babylon grounds. Watch how they ma sink and some of them a drown. Said I stand firm in a Babylon ground, and none of them can't chase my freedom like a bloodhound. I stand firm in a Babylon grounds, ready to break every chain and evil bounds. The system bad, but we a push further. Them a try roll you down, but we time for put on the guns and love one another. And the greatest thing we fight for is peace and love in Africa. Please life love your brother as much as you love your sister. Cause we live in a dangerous era. Chat children step up higher. Give thanks to the creator and stand firm like a pillar. Ever rooted conscious healer. None of them can stop my fire. Me not care how them a conspire. Jah is my guide and my fire blaze. All the evil must aspire. Put up all the dirty vampire. So just stand firm in a Babylon grounds. Jaja give me the words, the powers and sounds. I stand firm in a Babylon grounds. Watch how them a sink and some of them a drown. Said I stand firm in a Babylon ground. None of them can chase my freedom like a bloodhounds. The world full of evil and demonization. Greedy world leaders we are dealing peer corruption. Looking at the ghetto, hunger and starvation. Nobody really care about the next one, but I see Jaja children are rising. Cause righteousness we are defend from no man. Your people don't the big gun, big man. Do you really care about the poor man? Stop the human trafficking and subjugation. Free the innocent man from incarceration. What a joy to see the unification of the black man. Me upon a police segregation. Get a youth feed dash where every chemical addiction. You can't fall in a no Babylon persuasion. Ever stand tall in a the righteous institution. At a fire me a bone can't cool, can't water down, yeah. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, and I shall say unto the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. In Jah will I put my trust. The system bad, but we are push further. Them a try roll it down, but we can't put on the guns and love one another. And the greatest thing we are fight for is peace and love in Africa. Please life love your mama as much as love your papa. Cause we live in a dangerous era. That children step up higher. Give thanks to the Creator. I stand firm like a pillar. Ever rooted conscious healer. None of them can't stop my fire. Me not care how them a conspire. Jah is my guide and my fire blaze. All the evil must aspire. Put up all the dirty vampire. So just stand firm in a Babylon grounds. Jah give me the words, the powers and sounds. I stand firm in a Babylon ground. Watch how them a sink and some of them a drown. Said I stand firm in a Babylon ground. None of them can't chase my freedom like a bloodhound. I stand firm in a Babylon grounds, ready to break every chain and evil bounds. Yeah man. Big up man like Old Capital Records straight out of France. Big up Chop Goddess. Big up Beat Chemist. Trap Music G to the world. Me I represent Kalagad to the fullest. You see me? Maxi respect.
There's a big table, round table, with a puzzle that fits that whole table. 24 people were sitting at that table that represents 52 states. And when that puzzle is completed, that's when all crime and everything is going to cease and time is going to cease. It's going to stop. Because those puzzles are individuals that's like-minded. that's able to come and sit at the table and do not debate on anything, because they know there's only one cause to be sitting at that table, and that is for our economic development plan, our agenda,
Yeah.
our agenda written in stone.
Are you familiar with Brother Cleophas Miller?
Cleophas Miller.
Cleo Miller.
No, I don't think I ever heard of him.
Well, he's over the UNIA.
Okay.
And he's working on a post-colonial economic conference, you know. That's basically what Marcus Garvey had in mind was the economic agenda for our people.
Okay.
And so what he wants to do is gather people like yourself and others with economic plans for our people, which is what this show and platforms I put together, Who Our Ancestors Waited For, is all about. It's highlighting people that are actually doing things for our people and bringing us all together. Because after this election, I want to invite everybody who is on this show. I want to invite everybody back.
Okay.
And have you guys all on one show.
Okay.
You know, and so that's going to help us move forward as a people by doing, like you said, having our own round table that represents certain states. Because I've been having people from South Africa and Africa on the show that are working on our people's behalf, not just talking, and they're in positions to do things. You know, they're working in the school system, or they might be royals in Africa, you know, and like the brother over UNIA, Cleo Miller, you know, he's working with the Zulu tribe, which is the largest tribe over there in Africa. He's working with the chief. So we have all these Zulu warriors over there on standby for our people. I was working with a royal from Africa who ran for president. She wanted to be the first president of South Africa. I was her campaign manager. You know, so she ran for the president of South Africa, to be exact. So we have people like this, and she comes from the parliament from the Steve Biko era. She was a freedom fighter during the Steve Biko era, one of those sisters. So, yeah, so these are the type of people who's been on this show already, who we have on our team on the ground, ready to go when we say go. So, so like, just imagine all you guys on the same show.
Oh, that's be powerful. That'd be one powerful show, definitely.
Yeah. So
and
after
so is he based it out of Philly? UNIA, where he based it?
You won't believe it. He's in Ohio.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know the brother Herschel Daniels?
Yes, I know Herschel Daniels very well, because when we set up the National Black Council of Elders, he is the chairman. And me and him know each other very well, because as far as health-wise, we ran into the same condition. I told myself, I think we run in race for a heart attack, because I just had triple heart bypass surgery going on 2 years ago. Yeah. And he said, well, I'm at number 5.
I think he's at like 8 now. Yeah.
Yeah, 8. Yeah.
So Brother Herschel, he comes from the UNIA with working with Cleo Miller. And so the stuff that he's doing with the Friends of the African Union actually came from the UNIA. Like, all these people take what Marcus Garvey was actually doing and start their own splinter groups, like Friends of the African Union. And what the brother was saying on our show is that even the United Nations and the League of Nations took what Marcus Garvey was doing.
Okay.
So with the Permanent People Forum, that was actually Marcus Garvey's plan.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We're gonna bring it all back home.
Okay.
Well, like I was always telling people, we shouldn't fret or have any disparity about what the white people is doing, because all they're doing is making it easier to do what we want to do by creating things like the sixth region and the permanent people forum of African descent. Our problem is, I want to give you a couple examples, is like our enemy looks like us. So
Yes.
when you think about, do you know how Atlanta started booming?
No,
Okay, so I like to use P. Diddy for an example too, because they put our people in place. I know from working with the devil that the devil don't want us to be going out here and robbing and stealing, because we be robbing and stealing from the devil.
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? So these white people, they know, like, by us being like, having all these guns and, going across the tracks and robbing their people, they don't want that. Just like with the situation with P. Diddy, they didn't know that when they put P. Diddy and started giving him and Jay-Z all this money, that they was going to start being the type of psychopaths that they are and abusing our women and, taking advantage of youth and stuff like that. They put them in position to help our people. And, I learned that they don't even like black people that don't like the people. They respect black people that actually do for the people. That's why they love Dr. Martin Luther King so much. They didn't hate Dr. Martin Luther King. Them white women, they love Dr. Martin Luther King. All the white, they like, this is, even Obama, they're like, that's a class act right there. Obama didn't come president that easy, blew out the white man for nothing that he was going against. Yeah, Obama won by a landslide.
That's right. That's
in
right.
both elections.
Yes.
So how Atlanta got booming, it ain't the white people that's keeping us down. It's our own people that's keeping us down. Atlanta, they got together and they went and made deals with the white people, and it was like, we're going to build our community and you're going to invest. And the white people were like, okay, and Atlanta just started booming just like that. But they said that they meet in the middle and they go back to their own communities.
That's right.
The white people go back to their own community, and and the black people go back to their own community. And the problem still is the people at the top. I don't know if you've been watching like Young Thug trial and all that, but they got like a lot of our people up at the top is corrupt. Just like over here in Memphis, Memphis always voting for black people, black mayors and stuff, but these people is corrupt. That's why I like the topic of this show right here is the importance of America's democracy. So we got to teach our people to be more informed voters, and we got to get all these corrupt people up out of here. We got to know who we're voting for, and that's right. All. We can't just keep voting on skin color, because like they say, all skin folks ain't kinfolk.
That's true. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. See, we are. I got to bring our spirituality to the forefront.
Yeah.
That's me. That's my life. And see, we have to, in my opinion, my honest opinion, we have to see through the veil of this satanic system. First, we had to find out what we're dealing with. Because it really doesn't matter who's in the White House. Because basically, we have to deal with those central bankers.
Yeah.
Those central bankers is the ones that set down a decree that these puppets in DC have to follow by. I don't watch none of those debates. I don't watch no sports at all ever since I got out of high school, because I felt not a connection. Now, I loved it, soccer. I played semi-pro football, and I loved track and field. I used to run. There was 5 of us. We used to run the 440 and the 880 relay. But I'm saying this to say that when I went down the rabbit hole, I had a trusted friend to hold on to the other end of the rope. Now, this is metaphysically in the dream. Because if you're going to be as true seeker, like I said earlier, you had to be willing to sacrifice everything, all your possessions. Just like when a child come in this world here, you come in with nothing, you're going to leave out with nothing. And so when I discovered, after listening to one of my master's teachers talking about Constantine in the Bible and all the evidence of Horus and a Set, that really turned my whole life around. And so when we dealing with politics, Republic or the Democratic property, back in at the Million Man March, Minister Louis Farrakhan said it most bestly when he broke down democracy. And because, see, the language that we are speaking now, because everything consists of language. Language, sound, tones, and vibration. Since we were taken from our mother's tongue and our land and given this European mindset, every language that comes out of our mouths, believe it or not, is a curse. It's a curse. I'm going to say it again. Do the research. Don't take my word on it. Do the research and you'll find out that it's true. And respectfully, to those that ran for political office and won, there still was an agenda that was set in place. Because if there were one, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. You see what I'm saying? Because, see, they knew if we ever got a hold, the masses of the people ever got a hold of this information that I'm speaking of and that I'll be delivering, we'll be one of the most powerful people that ever walked this planet besides our ancestors. We'll be more powerful than an atom bomb just with one thought. Just with one thought. I'm talking about a power that's not unimaginable because it existed at one time. But through this genetic modification process that we had been experiencing way before the pandemic, what it's doing is reshaping our DNA pattern to this day. To this day. This is why, one of the reasons why we really can't come together, because you know and I know opposite attracts. So that means that I will pay more attention to something lighter than me than me and you are paying attention to each other now. Because they knew exactly what makes up our DNA to the T. They know us better than we know ourselves, but it should have been the other way around. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I can talk about Barack, but Barack had an agenda. Mm-hmm. And that was that gay agenda. He went to Africa and they ran him out of there. He said, no, you're not coming to bring that over there. Yeah. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? I liked it Trump. You see what I'm saying? Only reason why I liked the Trump, because he's a businessman. He's not one of them. And he's the only one, and I catch a lot of flake with this sometimes, but I really don't care. He's the only president that put over $2,000 in my bank account and in my chief's bank account, and then asked us for nothing to do anything. Just spend it. You see what I'm saying? And when I see Obama and Michelle, lovely couple. I know some things about them, but anyway, when she had on that black dress with the red in, see, people don't notice things sometimes. That was the Black Widow spider. The black and the red, symbolically. And what is the definition of the Black Widow spider? Because when it forms its web and an insect hit that web, it sends out a vibration and makes it shakes. And that spider knows exactly where it's at. So that insect has, now this insect is human beings, okay? It has less than 3 seconds to get out of that web. And if it don't get out of that web within 3 seconds, it will be devoured from the inside out. All you will see is the shell. That is us as a people. We have less than 3 seconds to make our minds up on our decision of what we're going to do for as far as the future is concerned. Because we already are being devoured in another way, shape, or form and fashion because of the COVID, the fake pandemic, because we had the chemtrails in the air. Now check this out now. See, I'm finna make all eyes open up. We have chemtrails in the air. We had GMO products in the food that was born, raised, and manufactured in the laboratory. We don't even know what's in our water. So we are contaminated. So what is life expectancy on this planet here? We don't control no resources. We don't even produce anything. You know, I matter of fact, last month I was just listen, I can't remember this black brother, if I can use that name, that terminology, or melanated person out of, I think it was Kansas. He was just awarded $1 billion black farmer. He was just awarded that.
It wasn't Brother Boyd, was it?
It might be. He always wore a black cowboy hat.
Probably John Boyd.
I think so. $1 billion. And when he tells his story of what he went through every time, his father and then him, because it was passed down from his father to him, the land and stuff, when they went to go fill out for those government grants and everything and getting those loans, they was pushed way back. Now they finally, after what, 80 years, 100 years, they finally getting settled for that $1 billion. So I say this to say that is that we had to do extensive research and find out who we need to be dealing with. I say we need to be dealing with none of them. It's time to do just like those young brothers did over there in Kenya. They tore up that county. They tore it up. I mean, the shopping malls and everything, the youth, because what? They said enough is enough. We tired of this government that's been Europeanized. They call it colonizers. Huh. It's just like what you were just speaking. They look like us, but shoot, they ain't got our interests. And I'm saying to my brothers and my sisters and the leaders of Africa, it's your time. May God, your time is over. You will not be mistreating our people for the British colony any longer. And that is immediately in effect.
'Cause
And I'm saying to my brothers and my sisters and the leaders of Africa, it's your time. May God, your time is over. You will not be mistreating our people for the British colony any longer. And that is in immediately in effect. because you sit in them presidential seats for over 70 years while your people suffering, while your people don't even have adequate housing or health care or even drinking water. I've been appointed chief in Uganda over a tribe of 600 people 5 years ago. And the condition that the Ugandans are living in to this day don't make any sense at all. But it does, because they want them to die out. And they just discovered a year ago gold in certain parts of Uganda, and now the British colony and the Germans and the British and everybody is scuffling to try to take all that. See, we come from royalty. We don't need anything because we was born into it. All we had to do is repatriate, reconnect with that resource, our resources, make those connections that will bring us finance. Because see, ain't nobody gonna work for free. You see what I'm saying? I know that you got to pay our people and pay them well in order to make them move and make them do something. You see what I'm saying? Because even as a nonprofit organization, you see what I'm saying? And the things that I did for my community from South Carolina to now working in Ohio now, it's like, duh, you're gonna donate to the Red Cross? Well, I got a Black Cross. I got a Black Cross. You see what I'm saying? In order for me to be more effective and powerful, you see what I'm saying? I need those donations, but I'm not dependent on it. I'm not dependent on it because, see, I know how things operate. This body, follow me what I'm saying. This body, some call it soul, some call it spirit, but it's energy. There's enough energy in one person's body that will light up a whole city. That's why they said there is no death. We transcend. And when we transcend, we're going right back to the original source where all life started from. You see? And that's why when you know what you know, I'm a threat before I even go anywhere. Because they pick up my vibration, my energy level, and then they see me coming before I even get there. That's why before I go anywhere, I visualize myself reaching my destination safely and returning safely. And see, we got to step aside and do a more extensive research and be true seekers.
Well, you know, I don't want to cut you off, but you know, there's like always this lingering question about like why do they like hate us so much and stuff like that, and it's like I tell people, even it's in the Bible, it's like jealousy and envy leads to hate. It's not really hate. And the one thing that separates us and put us in this position to make us, like you say, they know us better than we know ourselves, is like, why is that? Like, why is all these non-Black people so focused on Black people? And the one thing that we need to teach our people is know thyself.
That's right.
And the thing that they don't want us to know about is melanin.
That's right. That's it.
What you're speaking about, all this, your different energy and how our, you know, one person, we could light up a whole city.
Yes.
That's all because of the melanin that one of us have inside of our body.
That's
And
right.
not knowing about this melanin, we don't know ourselves.
That's right.
Because I studied this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what Jesus was presenting to the people, and why they created the J and named him Jesus and the blonde hair, blue eyed white guy instead of calling him Yeshua, because they don't want us to know. Remember when Jesus was he had to run from Herod,
Yes.
and where did he go? He went to Egypt.
That's right.
But they don't want you to know what he did in Egypt.
That's right.
They don't want us to know that when he went to Egypt, he was with his uncles in the pyramids.
That's right.
In the pyramids, when you go into the pyramids, it says, know thyself. And so when he came back, what did he do? He was teaching the teachers at 12 years old about things that they didn't know.
That's right.
And then when he was walking, he was telling disciples what they were thinking about.
That's
See,
right.
all this was taught by our ancestors. It's called mental telepathy.
Yes.
And then when they
Yes.
would touch Jesus, they were like, it felt like he was a spirit. It's like he wasn't even there. You know, Jesus was able to astral project. And that's what I was teaching in the last show.
Okay.
How our ancestors, they didn't have religion, they had science.
That's right.
Which is why they start demonizing the scientists and saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, we got to go by religion, because they don't want us to know thyself. They don't want us to know the things that our ancestors was teaching, that Jesus was practicing. And what I learned about a practice, what you practice is your religion. Like when you do something over and over and over again, you do it religiously.
That's right.
So I actually studied the words, and I studied etymology too, to know all this stuff. What do they call law? They call law a practice. What do they call medicine? They call medicine a practice.
A practice.
So when Jesus' 12 disciples, that's what they were. They were fishermen. They were lawmen. They studied law. You know what I'm saying? They had all. Jesus picked 12 disciples from each different practice.
That's right. That's right. That's
See,
right.
This is all the things that they don't want us to know. You know, even when Jesus, like at the end, when they said they went to his tomb and they found the clock that was folded. That's Mason's terms.
Yes. Yes.
See, they don't want us to know this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how Masons and carpenters, like, my work is done.
That's right. That's right.
They teach us from a religious perspective, a Europeanized religious perspective, so that we don't know thyself.
That's right.
That's all right. Part of the plan.
Yes. 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 All a part of the plan.
And it's funny you started with how you say standing on my square.
Yes.
That was a Mason term too.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't know if you know what a Mason square is, don't you?
That's that compass or that ruler or something like that?
It goes deeper than that, brother.
Okay.
So you know the intersections?
Yes.
They got a circle, like a metal or steel circle on like almost like every intersection. I haven't studied. I mean, went to all the different intersections, but I've seen a lot of them. Like at the those are Mason squares.
Okay.
So when they say standing on your own square, you know what I'm saying? They know what the hell they're saying. You know? Right. Because I went to one and I stepped on it and I took a picture of my foot stepping on the Mason square.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is, how those Mason squares, what they use to map out the different cities for the different, how they got to do the longitudes and latitudes, and stuff like that.
Yes.
So they was connecting all the Mason squares, how they tell you they built Washington and all this sort of stuff, and they was showing you the lines. Those lines is going to Mason squares and stuff.
Okay.
Those circle things I'm telling you about that's in the intersections and stuff.
Okay.
why it's so important for them to take pictures from the sky and stuff like that to be able to know where to put these Mason squares at.
Right.
You know, so this is, you know, something like when you're standing on your own Mason Square, that's what you're doing.
Yes.
When you're a chief of your community, you're standing on your own square.
Yes, yes, definitely. You know, my uncle transitioned about, I think it's been going on 4 years now. And he was a Mason, 33. And I think a year before he transitioned, me and him was building in the basement. And a lot of things that we was talking about that I was bringing to the forefront, he was saying, how did you get that information? Because you haven't joined the lodge or anything. I said, no, sir. I said, I'm a researcher. I dedicate my life doing research because out of everything that happens and exists on this planet, if I don't get truth, nothing else really matters. You know, because I know Great Mother Earth, she will provide for all of my needs and my want. And I really don't want nothing or need nothing. Because I'd rather have a peace of mind and then having anything else. And so when he transitioned, he was in the military. He in World War I and World War II, he was I think they called a line. He was putting up the communication lines. And I got pictures from newspaper articles. He left me a big suitcase with all his attires in it, his cap, and I mean everything down to his gloves. He said, I give this to you because you show yourself worthy. And I was just like, when I found out from his daughter that when he transitioned, she said, he left you a suitcase when you come. And I said, well, I'd be up on the weekend because I was working at the boys' home as a youth and family counselor. I did that for 26 years. And so we traveled from Georgetown, South Carolina to Columbia. That's where she lived at out there in Lexington. And I said, once we got there, I said, well, where's this suitcase? She said, it's downstairs. So as I went downstairs, I seen the big, and I still have that suitcase to this day. And several times and he was out of Arizona, and the certificates that has different measurements and stuff on it, you know what I'm saying? It kind of like touched my heart. And I knew the sacrifices, what he had done, you know, to receive those wars. You see what I'm saying? But all of that came out of Kemet. You know what I'm saying? All that originated from Kante. We was master builders. And that's why we are a threat to the colonizer, because if we was ever set free, and we're going to be set free, and I ain't talking about by transitioning. You see what I'm saying? Because it's been charted in the stars. Our great arrival is here now. And that's why you see a lot of these major distractions going on that keep us from not looking forward towards the future. They threw this artificial intelligent AI in the screen that is manipulating the people's thought patterns, technology, got people into the cell phones when they ain't never been in a cell phone. I was on TikTok one day, and next minute, long story short, 3 hours went by like that, like it was 5 minutes.
And that's how they want it.
Yeah, that's how they want it. You see what I'm saying? And see, those people that, and I respect everybody in their rightful places dealing with the COVID or whatever, the pandemic or whatever. And see, the neo particles that's not only in the chemtrails, but came through those injections, that is altering our DNA pattern as we think now is like it's reshaping our thought pattern. And they are able, and it's a scientific fact, they can turn on an individual or turn that person off.
Well, that's why I brought up melanin, because that's in our DNA.
Yes,
Why
yes,
they so focus on that. And from my studies of studying this, it was way before they invented like cell phones and stuff like that. Even it was before
exactly.
they was attacking our DNA before they even invented like house phones, because they the fluoride toothpaste that we use,
Yes,
all
yes,
that is to block our melanin and what they call pineal activity, and
yes,
the chlorine that we use in bleach and that they put in water and all this stuff. All that is to block our pineal activity. See, they don't have the pineal activity because they don't have melanin.
that's right. That's
So,
right.
and it all started back before they even wrote the Bible. It all
Yes,
started before even Jesus was born. They was already attacking our melanin. That's where they try to say the cloning process came from. Yakub. So when they
yeah,
talk about Yakub and how Yakub created these generations, and it took him 12 tribes,
yeah,
that was cloning. He was cloning
yes,
black. And
yes,
what did he do? He was taking the melanin out each person, and making them make, and then taking the melanin out, you know what I'm saying? And that's
yes,
what
yes.
they were saying, like, well, Cleopatra even come from that process.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so when you go back and study that, when they say about the 12 tribes, what they call the 12 tribes, that was actually, and they call him Jacob, it was actually Yakub, you know?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes,
this was cloning way back with our ancestors, you know?
right.
So that's why they so focus on our DNA and not theirs, and why they when they do study us, they studying us for medical purposes or how to cure their
Yes,
own cures. They're not focusing
yes,
on how to cure us. When they study the
yes,
black woman for breast cancer, they're not trying to cure the black woman for breast cancer or any type of cancer. They're trying to cure their women.
right, right,
So
right. And just like what you're saying, that big head Jakku, that scientist, he was a genius because he was able to slice into the genes. You see what I'm saying? And he can attract the lighter genes and the darker genes. You see what I'm saying? And I'm very familiar with that story. I Who else helped me in my process of development is Chief Elder Ray Higgins with the African Village. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, he the one that knocked my cap off my head when he said that ain't no one coming back, you better save yourself.
yeah,
And that really led me down that rabbit hole to get validation for myself. You see what I'm saying? And before I go on, I want to give all honor and respect to our elders by saying Hotep and blessing, sending out positive energy for healing and spiritual growth and protection around the world. I acknowledge all of our ancestors and my master teachers. I appreciate it. I appreciate those that tuned it in, because I did share the other day on my Facebook page as well. I don't know how many are that was up this morning, because normally at 8 o'clock I just be turning over my third time. But I told my chiefers last night, I said I had to prepare myself and for this time. And I heard a whisper and said, I want you to speak freely like the River Jordan. So I didn't bring any of my notes with me that I did write down last night, because the time is called for that positive energy. We have to be able to sacrifice everything, your possessions, everything, because our lives is at stake, our children's lives is at stake. Um, I've been working out of New Jersey. I'm driving box truck. Now I'm fully retired. I don't have to do anything. But I choose, and I argue sometimes with my wife. She said, "You always running to and fro and everywhere. You always keep yourself busy." And I said, because that was like my father that transitioned decades ago. Clarence Taylor, he was a migrator in South Carolina. They used to follow the seasons, doing sharecropping. And he brought, without any exaggeration, over 600 families from South Carolina. So I see where I get my strength from, because he inside of me. He's reliving life through me. And through us. And so the main thing that we had to focus on, I tried to get in contact with Herschel, but Daniels, I didn't get a response, but from one of his constituents, Brother Ashe in Ohio, he invited me and my chief is out to their residence coming up pretty soon. So I am reconnecting with a lot of the members that did come on the National Black Council of Elders. And I told Brother Ashe, I said, now I'm in your back door. He said, where you at, brother? I said, I'm in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. He said, oh, you only like 23 minutes away from me. You know, so we've been connecting with each other and building. But just like what you're speaking of with the UNIA and respect to the UNIA and the new Black Panther Party of Texas and around the world so far, is that a lot of them invite me and welcome me as their chief, you know, as their spiritual guidance chief. And I said, but I'm on the front line with you. I don't mind being on the front line with you. You see what I'm saying? Because I have to show my worthiness. I just don't want to speak with how the Indians say with full tongue. You know, and so matter of fact, I missed the one yesterday because they was on at like 5:30 in the afternoon. I got off work at 5. And also the Million Woman March movement. Empress, she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. And yes. And I mean, we connect all the time, and they got something going on. Matter of fact, we got a men's group now that we are forming as well. And that's just like what I was saying previously about this big puzzle coming together collectively. And when that puzzle comes, that's when time going to cease to stop, because the energy is going to be so magnificent that time ain't going to have a choice but to stop. You know, because how one of my master teachers say, we live in time exists. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow was all in one time zone that we live in. And it's wonderful that I'm able to experience these moments in time. Just the other day, they just told me about this truck driver in North Carolina. You might have heard of it. This black brother, melanated brother. The police saying that he hung himself, you know, in North Carolina, and that's a routine thing that's going on over there in North Carolina. I mean, it just make my blood boil. Talking about he went to Walmart and purchased a rope and then turn around and hang himself. They need to make a better story than that. But I'm saying this to say that there's things that those major distractions, at least for me personally, just make me want to go leech out Because when I heard it, I was ready to leave Ohio and going down there to North Carolina. You see what I'm saying? Because if we don't stand up as a powerful race, melanated people, like I said, it's over with. I did 4 state of emergency addresses on Facebook and on YouTube way before the pandemic ever happened. And some of the ladies that and young girls that single parents, they said, thank you for giving me this information because I'm a single parent. Some had 2 children, some had 6 children, and I don't have a man in the house to protect us. So she had to be the mother and the father. So in those broadcasts, I was saying about what we need to store, even to this day, just in case the things that we need, disaster preparedness things that we need to have in our home, just in case Snooks decide to close down their grocery stores. How are we going to maintain and survive through those times, especially if it's like over here in Ohio, we getting ready, and probably parts of the East too, getting ready to go into the fall season. And then, we're going into winter solstice system. And so there's things that we need to store and keep in our home just in case so that we'll be able to maintain a little while longer. And then
The pandemic should have taught people that, like you say, because during the pandemic, I don't know if you guys had a problem, but toilet paper was a big problem during the pandemic. Where I was from in San Diego, it was hard to find toilet paper.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And bottled water and stuff like that, like just necessary essentials. People, the people that got money was going to the store buying up everything, like washing powder, like soap. Toothpaste, like just daily essentials and stuff. You're like, man, this is crazy, man. It's hard to find stuff, that you really need on a daily basis.
That's right. Because mainly in South Carolina that I know of, it was the water and the toilet paper, like you speaking of. You see what I'm saying? And then, in the state of South Carolina, the most of such since we have hurricanes and stuff like that. They tell everyone to make sure you keep and I always keep my car on a half a tank. I don't let it go below a half a tank anyway because of the price gouging. When they give that mandatory evacuation order to leave out, from where I was at in Georgetown, we had to head up towards Columbia because that was higher ground. And not one time in 26 years living in South Carolina did we ever evacuate, our home. But we was prepared. We had a storage shed, a 30 by 40 storage shed with at least $25,000 worth of survival equipment in there. So it was like that if something did happen, we was able to look after our neighbors and our community as much as possible, even with medical equipment and anesthesia. And I mean, because I've been a nurse assistant, so I knew things just to have on hand besides the bandages and the masks and being safe. I had a lot of prescription drugs of ibuprofen that I had got from my medical people, so I wasn't just thinking of my immediate family. I was thinking about the people that surround me too, that I care about. But a lot of my family members, they say, you don't need all that. You don't need all that. I said, look, it's coming a time. I'd rather have it than not have it than want it, but yet what we are witnessing now is a shift, it's a paradigm shift, in our favor. And when a person start having that understanding, knowledge of self, of how to raise your chakra, your kundalini, and things like that, elevating your consciousness so that this way you can be connected through a system of parallels that will help you to maintain and strive and move forward. And because anything under the third dimension of thinking, you see what I'm saying? You're already done. You just don't know it, but once you get into the fifth and the sixth and the seventh dimension of communication with this energy, this positive energy, then there's nothing you fearful, nothing at all. I mean, the power is overwhelming. A lot of time I scare myself and I just say something that I know my wife is thinking about, and she said, I didn't even say nothing yet. And it already came out your mouth. And sometimes even with our spouse, you see what I'm saying, that we really don't agree on certain things because I dedicate my life to it. And I would love for her to be on the same path, because even Chief Elder Ray Hagan speaks of this, and Seven Bomar with the tribe out of this island that he be at Costa Rigos. He's out there in Costa Rigos. And a lot of them speaks of sometimes it's the men that the woman that's on a higher frequency than the man, but yet it still adds balance. But then it causes confusion in the home because one is on one level and the other one's on the other level when we should be all on the same page. You see what I'm saying? And so in our immediate circle is a lot of division and distraction, but I know what way we need to head. You see what I'm saying? And that's all that matters, because everything is coming down around us. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter, like what we were speaking about politics. It don't really matters, who's in there, because what's going to happen is going to happen. All we need to do is focus on us and only us. And if it's need be, which it is need be, and we demonstrate in America, like those brothers and sisters, them teenagers did in Kenya, tear this thing down, because we can rebuild it over. And that's the only reason why these Caucasoids, these reptilians attacked us at will. They even dream of attacking us and unaliving us in their sleep, because we don't fight back. It ain't no more time for marching. For what? For what? You just wasting your energy. It's time for the showdown. It's time to do battle, because I'm sick and tired of hearing innocent queens and princesses being mistreated on the live, killed out in public. They say, we're going to try y'all. We're going after your woman and see what you're going to do. Nah, they ain't did nothing. They went after the boys. Then they went after the men's. You see what I'm saying? Nothing. Marching. Going to them. No, we don't need y'all. We don't need y'all ever again, because it's about us. But we've been so Europeanized that there's only a few that's waking up and ready to do battle, because they have they don't retire. They got a home in Atlanta. They got a summer cottage in South Carolina. So they're not really worried. And then they stuck on this fake religion that's not ours. Ain't nobody coming out the sky to save you. And you better save yourself. And so when death come knocking at your door, that you call death, because I say there's a transitioning period, then you may wake up. Go to my Facebook. I post all of it on there. You see what I'm saying? But now I had to draw a line. I'm not running out there as much as I did when I first started, the first 15 years. I pulled back, not only because of health reason. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to be around to tell the story. I want to be around to tell the story. Because just as well, it's one of the worst times, but it's the greatest time. Because whatever you project in your reality, let that be your existence. Just like what's going over there in Israel. If you was over there and your mindset was sharp and focused, you wouldn't be worried about the bombs that's being dropped around you. That's the kind of mind thinking that I am in. You see what I'm saying? I don't see no death, hear no death unless I'm paying attention to it. And I pay very little attention, but some things do slip by me, and I catch it, or somebody call me on the phone and said, Chief, did you hear this? Minister, did you hear this? And it's devastating. It's really devastating. What is it going to take for our people to wake up?
A lot of our people, I was talking about how our people, we're spiritual people. Naturally, we're spiritual people.
Yes, yes.
By being spiritually people, we're easily spooked.
Yes.
And that's where all this religion and TV and the politics come from, and being influenced by TV and all the different media streams. They're able to spook us, and they know they're able to do that because they know us better than we know ourselves, because they studied us, and our people don't study themselves to know that.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It's good that you mentioned Israel, because I always relate Israel to like places like Saudi Arabia,
yes,
the Micronesia, like Taiwan, Malaysia, all the different countries, even China, Russia. All these are barren lands.
Yes,
they don't grow food like Africa and America grows food.
That's right. That's right.
They don't have the resources like that, and so that's what the colonizers' whole mindset is on. Not just and why China is in Africa, and why Russia and all these different countries are fighting for Africa, is because they don't have the resources to feed their own people. And when you don't have the resources to feed your own people, and you're a leader, your people is looking at you like, hey, man, you're supposed to feed us. And they're like, hey, man, okay, these leaders got to do what they got to do to feed their people so they don't end up like Gaddafi.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And then the thing is, so I don't know, well, a lot of our people don't know about the Rock of Gibraltar.
Right.
So, and then the Rock of Gibraltar was like how they got these maritime laws, right? About where ships could pass through and stuff like that. And these port cities, which is why Israel is sitting up at the tip of Africa.
That's right.
But it's owned by, colonizers, just like Egypt is owned by colonizers and stuff, to try to capitalize off our ancestors, and also to be able, there's water right there.
Yes.
So they control and say who could come into these ports and stuff like that. That's an economic principle that they're living off of and capitalizing off of, as one form of trying to create revenues for their countries and feed their people. Israel is a real poor country. There's a lot of poverty over there in Israel that we don't know about. And so what I'm getting to is that America lost possession of the Rock of Gibraltar like about 20 years ago. So it lost a huge economic resource when it lost the Rock of Gibraltar.
Yes.
And also another thing, remember the Panama Canal? That's the
Yes.
same situation. You know,
Yes.
America lost the Panama Canal. So
Right.
when America loses these ports like that, they lose trillions of dollars
That's right.
that the Europeans were bringing in to feed their people. And that only makes them focus on Africa and our people even more, to take from us to feed their people.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
where having this knowledge come into play at, you know? So it's not just about us focus on us, because when we focus on us all the time, we don't know what the devil is doing.
That's right. That's right.
So,
That's
you know,
right. I
and,
say, I say.
you know,
And see, just like what we speaking of, Africa is the richest continent in the world. You see what I'm saying? I've been doing a lot of extensive research on the Congo, you know, and the Congolese. We have a Congolese woman group here in Reynoldsburg that I was honored to be invited to one of their meetings about 6 months ago. And they had some of the ladies from, that's a lawyer from the Congo, and they got a president. They well established. They all got good, decent jobs here in Ohio. And but yet, as I sit back and observe, you know, the language, the attitude, and their conversations, it's like they forgot, in short, all about where they came from and how the millions of men, women, and children that becoming unalive and dead, and I mean brutal. I mean, kids that's like 5 years old, they out there working in the mines and the dirt and stuff, and they can't just go and take a bathroom break or a lunch break. Everything happens right there in that area, far as using the bathroom and this and that, and very, very little food. So I got in contact with the president, which is a female elder that worked it with me in here in Ohio at one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the state. And I told her, I said, are you sending any help back home? And she dropped right off the screen. So she been colonized because a lot of those, and you probably aware of it too, a lot of our people, when they come from these foreign countries, mainly Africa, and they go through immigration, they are warned, if you intertwine with those African Negroes, with those American people, Negroes, whatever terminology that they're using, because you know they good with their fear tactics. We'll pull your visa and we will expedite you out of here.
yeah.
And I see that mindset amongst a group of 50-something people that was in that gathering. And I was able to pull one of the young children aside. She had to be about 15, and she talks like a warrior. You see, I don't care about this and that. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. You know, and I felt her energy and her sincerity, and but her cry out for help and support. You see what I'm saying? And because just Google the Congolese and you'll see for yourself. Our people in the Congo has been doing that to each other through the colonizers. Who's supporting?
It's all over Africa.
Yes, yes. And it's a lot of different other places in Africa that's going on too.
It's
You
all
know what I'm
over
saying?
Africa. It's in South Africa. It's in Ghana, Nigeria. It's the whole continent,
Go-
and not just Africa. The brother we have a brother that's a chief in Samoa. And they're working in Africa as well. The Samoans, they contacted me to do trade with African farmers and stuff. But even then, they say that their people think like colonizers. They got the colonized mind. So everywhere
yeah,
there's Europeans are, people are, where we live, like the word republic.
yes,
Everywhere there's a republic, people are basically Europeans. And from studying the languages, like I tell them, you're possessed by the devil.
that's right.
So whenever the Republic of America, the Republic of this, the Republic, because you got the Republic of Mexico, all these countries are possessed by the devil
That's right.
because we're possessed by the Europeans. Go back before they was even called Europeans, they were called Romans.
Yes.
And so my white pastor told me, like many years ago, and when I was studying to become a minister, well, I wasn't trying to become a minister. They just made me one because of my vast knowledge of all these different religions. He told me it's not a book in the Bible for nothing. He's like, people need to study the book of Romans to actually learn how the Europeans are. And not just the Europeans, all these people that are part of these republics, like the Republic of Mexico, the Republic of Nigeria, the Republic of,
That's
and
right.
why we're speaking this language. Just by speaking this language tells us we're possessed by the republic. We're their possessions. So not only we're their possessions, we're possessed by the devil. So I say
Yeah,
we're possessed 2 times over,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
and we don't even know it. Like I got a brother, my co-host, who's not here today. Uh, he was telling me before, like because when I was trying to invite you to the Zoom calls with those farmers and stuff, I think
Right.
the farmer you was talking about earlier, he probably was part of that too. But they're telling me they got the Congolese farmers ready and people in Congo that's ready to work with us. So we got the South African farmers ready to work with us. So yeah, we're going to be working in Congo real soon. As soon as we get all our people together and organized, I have a Zoom call today at 3 o'clock. I think it's 3 o'clock Eastern or 6 o'clock Eastern, one of the two. But I have a Zoom call to start moving forward with people or our people that's ready to invest in African nations, different African,
Okay.
and everywhere that we have farmers and people ready to go, like schools. We want to invest in schools and stuff. So the time is now. And when
That's
you
right.
were talking earlier about the women's movement, the National Black Council, and the UNIA, you got to understand, like all these are different organizations that I'm just affiliated with by myself, and with your organization and all these other, like you said, the National Black Council Elders. I know all these people,
Right.
so it's time to mobilize all these people,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's exactly what this platform is all about. It's time to mobilize our people and move forward. The talking is over with. That's why they like this show right here, because we're not just talking. We're
That's
talking to
right.
people that's actually doing things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I say. And definitely, I appreciate everything and your dedication that you are doing as well to get this information out, and let it go viral. So make sure I get a copy of it so I can share it as well. And because as we move forward, we need more people like you to be that vocal point in all of our lives and our affairs, to get what concerns you, concerns me, and should concern all of us. Because just like what you were speaking of earlier, talking about the melon, and this another reason why we are up under attack, because our melon, just a drop of melon, is worth more than just an ounce of gold.
Yeah, it is.
you know, and so when you start adding up things and putting it in this proper perspective, and I say this a lot of time, we're not dealing with human beings. They look like human beings. You see what I'm saying? Because the way that they had criminalized us and pulled that veil over our eye, that's why Jesus said in the Bible, let me put some spittle over your eyes so that you can see. Because he know automatically we came in the world being deceived and being blind. And now we know that through a lot of research is that we dealing with this system that is called to make the matrix. There's a real matrix and there's a fake matrix. We're dealing with this fake matrix with comprised of billions and billions of programs. You see what I'm saying? And to get to know who the architect of who developed this system that is called the matrix, there's a good friend of mine. Her name is Sophia Stewart.
I know her too.
Yeah, and she's the original oracle and the creator of the Matrix, the book, The Matrix.
I want to invite her on the show too.
Yeah, a wonderful lady, you know, a goddess and everything, and she put it in a form that you can see now that you a true seeker and you can see these things. That's evidence, you know, that this is what is happening. And but yet we have the mindset and the power to override a lot of these things that is happening, even as an individual and as a group. We are more powerful. Just imagine if we can just have 7 people around the table operating on a higher frequency in the same level and meditating to one source, how we can make things move basically within seconds. Within seconds. See, these Caucasoids, in your opinion, they know the power that we can have if we really can try to clean it up, but we've been already contaminated. You see what I'm saying? We going off of our energy. That's some call it the soul, some call it the spirit. And that's why I use the terminology. Let's drop these denominations and these titles, because at the end of the day, all that we are is divine spiritual beings having a human experience. That's it. And if we can just agree on that notion right there, because we know where the divisions at. We know where the separations come at. We already aware of what the cause and effect is. So if we just like Marcus Garvey say, one cause, one mission. You see what I'm saying? And I give honor to the UNIA. You see what I'm saying? And their dedication to Marcus Garvey. You see what I'm saying? But it's wartime. It's wartime now.
Yeah, I want to look into it because I was told years ago I should have researched and studied a while ago how they were saying that China has a train that runs off melanin.
Get out of here.
That's why I should have researched it to be sure, because, you know, we hear a lot of stuff. But the thing is, where would they get this melanin from?
Right.
Because they said it runs off melanin, you know, and by it run off melanin, they don't have to power it up and repower it. It just runs off melanin.
So they get it from the human trafficking.
That's what I'm saying.
And stuff like that. Because just recently over there in, I think it was Brooklyn, New York, or Bronx, or Manhattan, the FBI had raided this warehouse. And it was up on the investigation for a while. and when they raided it, they had tons and tons of barrels with human parts in those barrels, from arms, legs, limbs, and heads and torso.
Remember, China and Planned Parenthood was involved with something like that as well.
Exactly.
You know, Kamala Harris was involved with that too.
Exactly.
And it was a whistleblower that exposed it. Kamala Harris put him in jail.
Yes.
You know, they don't talk about that. You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, all these politicians just work together, because that's like something, you know, he could be like, if you were so involved in human or women's rights and women reproduction, you wouldn't be involved with that scandal with Planned Parenthood and the body parts.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You know, there's a lot of dirt out there that Trump ain't even using. It's like, you know, he's all part of the same system, which is where they say the system was designed to be manipulated. And
That's
another
right.
thing you were talking about these humans and how they're not humans, it goes back to the Bible, what they don't teach. What I was taught, and why I was glad that I was able to study these things. There were two creations of humans in the Bible, and it's in the book of Genesis. You know, after God created Adam and Eve, it goes on. I think it's like in I got to go back and see what chapter it was, but it talks about another creation of humans.
Yes.
You know? So these are things in the Bible that we can show. Like, look, they created humans, and then God created mankind.
Yes. Listening to Billy Carson, he's saying that we are the descendants, and this way out in left field, I know from a lot of things we're saying about, that we are the descendants of the Anunnakians. And that's why it says in the Bible and the Quran and the Hadith, if we're talking about in the beginning, why will it use the terminology, let us make man in our image? So if this was the beginning of Genesis and you using the terminology us, okay, who is the us if it's the beginning?
Here's the thing, what I learned from studying, right? When I just studying, because I read this, you know, everything that they did, they documented. So that's actually why they changed the King James Bible. And they even took out Elohim. Elohim was in the King James Bible because Elohim was plural.
Right.
It refers to us. So they had to change the us.
That's right.
You know, and said like let God or let thee, you know, that's you know, and so that's why they actually, when I read the Apocrypha, which is the European version of the Bible, and it has like 22 more books than our Bible, it tells you why they changed the King James Version. They said the King James Version, it had too much stuff that was pretty much sound like it came from Kemet. They call it Egypt, which was what you're talking about, us. Which, you know, then when they talk about us, they're talking about the five gods of Egypt, which was Asar, Set, Aru. Yeah. So they're talking about those are the people when they say let us create man in our image. That's what and so when they say Elohim, that's what they're speaking about. They're speaking about our ancestors from Kemet. And so they had to take that out because they said, oh, that sounds too Egyptian. People are going to start, you know, going towards that. And also, when it talks about the Nephilim, that's a whole nother thing. And when it came to the Nephilim and the descendants of the men, it says, like, the sons of man had sex with the daughters of men, or the sons of God had sex with the daughters of men. And the child they bore, you know, the child they bore, they're called heroes in the Bible. They're called titans in the Bible. And then, so Hitler used that and start teaching that this is where white people come from.
That's right.
So Hitler took that and that's what he used to create Nazism, which is the supreme white race and the master race, why they called themselves the master race. They get that from Hitler teaching them that they came from the children that were born from the Nephilim.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is the type of stuff we need to tell our people about, why they brainwashed their own people. They didn't just brainwash our people. They brainwashed our own people using our ancestors' knowledge.
That's
Even
right.
because Nimrod even said we're masters builders, we're brick masons and stuff like that, and they demonized him too.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
but he told you, okay, so he was the grandson of Noah.
Yes.
He was the grandson of the great grandsons of Noah. So, you know, it's like you're demonizing our people that you say is your people.
Wow.
This is how
Wow.
twisted they is. You know, you're trying to claim that, okay, that you're, you know, the white people try to say that they're the descendants of the people in the Bible, you know, but then Nimrod, he was Noah's son. Jesus was part of that line and everything too. And you see what
Yeah.
you did to Jesus. That was you guys that killed Jesus. You know?
That's right. That's
So,
right.
you know, Jesus was against the church and against the politicians and stuff. So why are
That's
you
right.
with the church and with the politicians?
That's right. Wow. Yeah, that definitely we in for a challenging time, and it's just like what you are speaking of. A lot of things that's in the Bible, the Quran and the Hadith. Um, there's a lot of symbolism in there,
Yeah.
and it is basically a code that we have to uncipher.
Yeah.
You know, and so everything, like I said, everything is set up by design.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We here to witness this time of great change. And that's what another thing that I noticed when I was watching CNN News and they had Donald Trump on there. If we can reflect back to that for a second, before the pandemic, and I was listening closely, he said, I forgot what he was talking about, but he did mention our lives is never going to be the same ever again. And that definitely is true. And because I personally don't feel that same vibration of being as human being on Great Mother Earth like I felt 2 years ago before the pandemic. See, I had to do evaluation on myself because a lot of things that I mentioned not because I read it, because I experienced these things. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes I just have to sit back and just meditate on every part of organs that's in my body in order to bring myself back to focus. You see, even sometimes it just feel like a couple times my phone started acting weird. You know, I couldn't get no text messages. I go to send text, it wouldn't even put the letters out there, and it was just acting weird. And one of my friends had said, your phone and you got hit with an EMP. And see, a lot of these police departments and these secret organizations, they be riding around with these white trucks, and they have these things on the top of their trucks, and some on the back of them look like something that was shoot out of radar, like they listening to things.
They are.
And he said, I got hit with an EMP because I felt like a numbness over my face and my body, you know, and it just like, it didn't paralyze me. I still could move and think, but I could just feel it. And so just a couple of nights ago, I was watching an episode with, I think it was Ben Carson, Billy Carson, or one of those guys. They said, you know, They got this thing. They got us in a bottle of shit. Excuse my French, because even when we take in the shower, because our skin is just like pores. They open up and it's like sponge. So when the water we take in the shower, that chemical is now potent in our drinking water than ever before. Cause I took a shower, then normally I don't need to put on no lotion or no grease or nothing like that. And 20 minutes later, it was like my body almost turned white. And my wife said, "You look ashy up." I said, "I tell you, them chemicals.
That chlorine they put in the
That
water is affecting our melanin.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Exactly. So if we talk to somebody else outside of our paradigm, they think that we don't lost our darn mind.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because they already been exposed and they already just let go of their inner self and their true emotions and feelings and just became like robots now, basically.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Look at family now. They're not as close and net tied together like back in the 60s, the 70s, and the mid 80s. It's just like everybody for themselves because you got that Generation X, which is the younger ones that came after us. You see what I'm saying? The ones that mama kicked out the house because she don't got pregnant and she thinks she grown. And so mom or grandma said, "Well, I can't take this no more. I can't handle your attitude, your disrespect." So she go out and get with DSS, and DSS said, "Well, you can have all the children you want, just don't have no man in the house. We'll get your food stamps. We'll take care of your rent. We'll take care of your utility, but you can't have no man in the house." You see what I'm saying? So that created the baby boomer generation, Generation X, to be brought into a society with what? No education, because the mama, she dropped out of school. You see what I'm saying? No man in the house to keep the balance of respect there and loyalty and dignity there. So you got a society that just come out and say, "Well, we're gonna do what we want to do."
Well,
And
that's
because the first thing in my conclusion, the first thing that I witnessed that they say, "Well, if y'all elders wasn't doing what y'all supposed to been doing, then we wouldn't be in this mess." And I get a lot of flake from that generation. And I say, you know what? You are exactly right.
yeah, they're right.
They're right. We dropped the ball. The ones
That's
before us dropped the ball.
well, we can't. Well, we always say it's because of the civil rights movement.
Yes.
And I took notes about when you say we integrated into schools. When we integrated, we got indoctrinated into this system. And what
That's
do
right.
systems do? They get on the system.
That's
They
right.
get on the system. It's all part of the system. And the system is designed not to just be manipulated. The system is also designed to manipulate our people.
That's right.
And
That's
it's
right.
like, I like when you brought up the Matrix and it's the sister Sophia Stewart. I'm going to try to get her on this show so that we could talk about this. Because when I studied the Bible, one thing I learned is that the Bible is not in chronological order.
That's right. That's right.
And that the first 5 books of the Bible, like you say, we need to decode the Bible. And the Bible is, the first 5 books of the Bible is what they call a matrix, basically. That's what they called it for my study. They said the first 5 books has a matrix in it, which is where Nostradamus got his predictions from.
Yes.
Because what people don't know is that, man, the Bible is so real and true. Like you say, it's all symbolism, it's all allegory. Remember when Mary Magdalene went to Jesus' tomb and he wasn't there, and then he appeared to her, And this is all in the Bible. And then she said that she went to the apostles and tried to tell the disciples, oh, my Lord appeared to me. Here's what he told me. And then so, because if you just, if you start studying outside of the Bible, you learn they was actually jealous of Mary.
That's right.
And they said they were jealous because Jesus spent a lot of time with her and Jesus even kissed her. Then they try to say that he even had a baby by her. So when the Mary told them what Jesus told her, they didn't believe they didn't believe Sister Mary, and then she had to flee.
That's right.
But they in the Bible they don't tell you where she fled to. I went and studied where she fled to. You know where she fled to?
Where she fled to?
Southern France, bro.
Get out of here.
She fled to, and then she fled to what they call the Languedoc. So when you see all these different priests and stuff over there, and the Catholic priests over there in France and stuff, this is what they're referring back to, because she went over there and they said she started the first mystery school over there in Southern France. And guess who went to her school?
Who?
Nostradamus.
Wow.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Wow.
Isaac Newton. So the people that they put over here as like great scientists, and but from history and stuff like that, the great scientists, they went to the Mary Magdalene school that she started. And that's where Leonardo da Vinci, why he painted that picture of the Last Supper.
Yeah.
He learned from Mary Magdalene. And then from when Nostradamus made his prediction, he learned what Mary Magdalene was actually teaching at her school, the mystery sciences, they called it. And so what it was she in the first 5 books of the Bible, they said you go to like it was either every 50th or every 75th letter, and you pull out those letters every 50th and every 6th, and those words, once you put out all these different letters from the first 5 books, like I say, it's called a Fibonacci sequence, which she was teaching, which is the movie Da Vinci Code is about, but they don't tell you this. It says that it makes up certain type of things and phrases and stuff, like it tells you like how JFK assassination and stuff like that. And it said they mentions about the tunnels and stuff where Princess Diana was going to die. It has all these different predictions, but I was telling it's not a prediction. These are plans for the future.
For the future, yes.
Because after I read and I learned all this stuff, they said the president gets a matrix every day.
Wow. Wow. Definitely.
So that's why they say call him a puppet, because he gets a matrix that he has to go by every day.
Right.
And that's why they didn't like Donald Trump, because he didn't know none of this stuff going in.
Yeah.
And they, so they need people that go to these schools and learn all this stuff. Remember Donald Trump, he didn't go to none of that stuff. He was like they try to call him a flunky and stuff because he got his money from his daddy and all this stuff. He didn't have to go through all the stuff that they went through to become part of this here system. And why they call it, he's an anti-establishment. He's not with all that stuff that they're with, which is why they don't want him in the office.
Yeah, because see, this is just like what I was speaking of earlier. See, Trump, and I know this for a fact, Trump is a Knights Templar. And if you know anything about Knights Templars back in
I know about them.
The 1400s, you know what I'm saying? They almost was ran out by the Roman Catholic Church, by those Catholics.
That's where they were safe at, though.
Yeah.
They were safe in France. They were safe in France. This is after Mary Magdalene set up her school, so people don't know why people were safe in France. It goes all the way back to Mary Magdalene. They don't want people to know this sort of stuff.
That's right. and that's why they had the teachers of, in the garden of the tree of good and evil, a tree of knowledge, and they didn't want you to have the apple because they didn't want your eyes to become open.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And see, it ain't nothing new up under the sun. See, one thing about the universe and the cosmos and what you were speaking of, the Lord's Supper that Leonardo da Vinci had painted. See, that's symbolically.
Yeah.
Those symbols, the 12 disciples represent the 12 solar systems.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? All of that is a metaphor. When you break it down and you see that over Jesus' head was a halo, that was the sun. You see what I'm saying? The S-U-N, not the S-O-N.
They also teach about that too. They teach about why when they have a picture of Jesus, it don't just have a halo. They have like an illusion of a sun, coming from depicted behind Jesus' head.
That's right.
That goes all back to our ancestors, symbolically telling you that, hey man, you need to pay attention to this. But the thing is, what they said these painters was doing, they knew that the church was lying.
That's right.
Like people like Leonardo da Vinci and all the people, they knew that the church was lying, so they was putting stuff in paintings. Remember, they were banning books, so they was using art to try to tell people the truth. And that's what the Masons and Freemasons and all these secret societies was doing.
That's right.
And why they had to become secret societies, because the church, they knew the church was lying to everybody.
Yes, definitely. And what you're speaking of is the Council of Nicaea of 325 AD, the Roman Catholic Church. Say they take precedence over every religion and denomination on this planet here. And when they send down a decree, the rest of them has to follow, And so basically what we're dealing now with is an alienation agenda of depopulation of the earth. They say, why kill 1 million when we can control 1 million? Yeah. Just like what you was speaking of earlier about the abandoned buildings, and the people are fleeing out of that state right there. We got the immigrants coming in New York, creating a lot of chaos, and a lot of those immigrants that came in through my research and information of valuable resources, is a lot of them are sleeper cells as well to create hatreds in our communities. How are you going to give immigrants, $10,000 a month and free housing, and don't even have to have a driver's license, to drive a vehicle? But yet that's another the trick masters, of divisions to keep us arguing with each other, because people that's been living in New York City, the Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Bronx, and the Queens, they've been there for decades. And some of them is homeless and still have 2 jobs, and can't afford any housing in those cities. And perfect example, my niece, she just moved out of Brooklyn from being there for over 30 years. She said, Uncle, it's so terrible over there. It's not safe. It doesn't matter if you have a surveillance of cameras around your house or anything. And so she had to take herself and her 3 kids and go back to our home state, which is Utica, New York. Her husband, which is from Africa, he decided to stay there because he established a business out there in security systems. So suffices to say, a lot of people is fleeing New York City as well, and traveling south as well too. So it's a lot of confusion that's going on. People is trying to reposition themselves for the battle, because they see and feel something next is coming. Matter of fact, we are already in the second wave of a pandemic. They just ain't ain't advertised it like they did COVID-19, because see, COVID-19 was an experiment as well to see who was all gonna comply with their orders. You see what I'm saying? Of wearing the mask and getting these injections and stuff like that, these vaccines. How you get somebody a vaccine and don't even been tested? So that gave me the notion of thinking back when I was younger and we all had to go into school. We all had to have these vaccination shots in order to enter into preschool and then first graders. Like every year we had to have certain shots and stuff. And a lot of it had radiation and because I'm pretty sure you probably still got one of the marks on your shoulder where we had to get one of those shots and vaccination in order to enter into public school. So like what we were speaking of earlier, there's nothing new up under the sun when you are a real true seeker of understanding and knowing exactly the cause and effect of everything that is happening around us. So, and I tell people, I said, look, we don't have to pick up any weapons. Our best form of tactic is just being aware of what's going on around us and what is happening. So this way we can divert in any way that we need to feel safe and comfortable in. You see what I'm saying? And because we have some strong warriors out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not in the public eye, of defense. It needs to be in the public eye so that these other entities can kind of like slow them down and they can think twice when it comes down to melanated people.
Well, one of the things I realized is like, we're our biggest enemy.
Yes, we are.
Like I say, like over here, Anthony, Penny Hardaway. Remember Penny Hardaway?
Yeah.
He's the basketball coach over here, and so he was saying that people were telling him, it was our people telling him, don't come and be a coach over here.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's the problem. It ain't, like I keep saying, it ain't the white man. It's the enemy within our community that don't want to help our people, because over here there's no jobs for the youth. There's nothing. Like they got all these here neighborhoods, and even when the businesses were here, it wasn't enough businesses here to provide jobs for people. So that creates crime. Like people, as people are having babies and generations and stuff, now we're having more babies and generations rising up. It's only creating more crime because people don't have a means to survive. And that's why I keep telling. And it's the 9-year-old, the 10-year-old, the teenagers are the ones doing all the crime. They're out here doing all the shooting and getting into shootouts with the police. They're the ones out here stealing cars. You don't got old people over here stealing cars and doing, getting in high-speed chases with the police. These are the younger generation.
That's right.
And so it's the younger generation that's catching AIDS over here too.
Yes.
So because they don't have any resources to, or means to survive. And like I was saying earlier, they're also about to cut 2 bus routes out. They're already saying they're stopping the whole trolley system. So people are going to lose more jobs. People are going to not be able to get to work. That's going to just create more crimes. We already got a teacher shortage out here. So that just problems on top of problems, all because we need our people to stop failing our people. We need our people to stop failing our people. Just like the people said, it was our elders that dropped the ball. Our sisters are dependent on a system because our people don't do for our people.
That's true. That's right.
We got all these millionaires and all these billionaires out here. Like look at what Floyd Mayweather did. He go out, he start building strip clubs.
Yeah.
We need like movie theaters and stuff. We need like black hospitals. We need black schools that teach what we want to teach our kids and stuff. We need black shopping malls with all these farmers we got.
That's right.
Grocery stores. We need all this type of stuff. We got a lot of people that make clothes and stuff, and we wanted to buy a Sears when Sears went out of business so that we could have our people in the community come and start setting up business inside of these Sears.
That's right. That's right.
These are the type of plans that we have as our people. But like a brother was saying, I think it was Bill Gates. He invested like $1 billion or something into Facebook.
Yeah.
Black people don't do that for black people.
No.
That's the problem.
Right.
We got the money, we got the people, we got the resources, but our people is failing our people. It ain't the government. Like this government has created a lot of black wealth.
Yes.
With the white people in charge. Like I say,
Right.
They put Diddy in power. They put Kanye West in power. White people did. Black people didn't do that. White people made them billionaires, put them in a position, I should say, to become billionaires. Our people is the one that made them rich, but they're looking out for our people.
That's right.
And that's the problem. Right. Even with Marcus Allen went to my high school, and our kids had that school that Marcus Allen went to. They won like 4 or 5 championships last year. Marcus Allen ain't did nothing. Marcus Allen ain't never did nothing. That's the problem in the black community. That's why the black community get laughed at. That's why we get laughed at for even saying, "Oh, we black power, black this." We get laughed at in our face for saying that because they're like, "What is black people doing for you?"
That's right. That's right.
You guys out here talking all this black shit, but y'all ain't doing shit.
Dang. That's true. That's true. That's true. Exactly true.
And it ain't just like that in America, it's like that in Africa too.
Yeah, you're right. And it's worse over there because they don't have as many resources that we have over here in the United States.
They got the resources, but they don't got the opportunity.
They ain't got the opportunity.
They can't mine without going to the government, who is Europeans.
Yeah.
What people don't know is even the king and queen over there in Europe was reduced to celebrity status. They was the king and queen over there, Queen Elizabeth, all this. They don't have any power because their people don't let them shit on them like we let our kings and queens over there in Africa shit on our people.
That's right. That's right. That's definitely right.
Well, the Europeans not going for that bullshit they going for over there in Africa. That's why the whole black race is a laughing stock.
Yeah.
It's like we like being shit on because we be looking at our leaders like there's something when they ain't shit because they ain't doing shit.
That's right. That's right.
And the only thing the white people fear is our ignorance.
Is our ignorance.
Because they thinking that, oh, we're going to keep going after we talk all this racist shit when we should be talking about how bad our leaders is that look like us.
That's true. That's true.
That's why this show is about why democracy is so important, because we need to get our own leaders up out of here.
Yes.
Like y'all ain't gonna do nothing for us, then we gonna get rid of you using the democratic process. We don't have to be violent. We just have to be smart.
Be smart about it. Yes, sir, my brother.
Like one of my business partners, he'll be talking about, oh, these Negroes, they did that. They stole my all ideas. They did this. He always talking about it, complaining, even when helping Haiti. He's working with the Million Women March with Empress Chief. Trying to help the women over there in Haiti. But you got another sister from Haiti who had an organization over there for 30 years. They never did nothing, trying to steal ideas and do all. It's always a Negro trying to steal ideas. But then he attacks the white man. I'm like, and that's why I learned like the ego and this hate, it blinds people.
It does. It does.
It blinds you to who your real enemy is. Your real enemy is your ignorance. Like the white people, like we call ourselves. If you think of black people and yourself as you're this powerful black race and powerful black man, what the hell threat is a white man to you?
That's right.
You thinking retarded.
Wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why they got to keep their foot on our necks because of how retarded we think. We thinking they're the enemy when our own people is the enemy.
That's right. That's right.
Our own people went around. It was the Moors went around teaching the Europeans, teaching Asians, and teaching all these different people our ancestors' knowledge and science, and then came back and used it against the Moors, showing them, oh, let's go and enslave our own people now.
Right. And see that, and that's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned that name. The Moors, man. We the ones that civilized the Europeans, and I was good friends with a lady that, a sister that was the secretary for the Moors out in Chicago. And long story short, she was telling me that all African Americans was entitled to a certain sum of money, but the one of the Moors, and she used the name, but she didn't really want to use it in full reference, that they was in a position to issue out some funds to every family, but they choose to hold on to it to this very day, and said she was awarded $100 and something $1,000, and long story short, the day that they were supposed to issue out her check. Now, she been the secretary for over 30 years, and she mysteriously ended up passing away, transitioning. And when I heard about that, she had sent me through email some documents that she wanted me to download, which I end up doing, of the evidence of what she was speaking of. And I was amazed. That's why I say, I can basically, we use a terminology as spiritual teachers, so above, so below, within and without, that I can touch on just about any subject matter. And when I downloaded the information, I knew she was on point. Because sometimes we just have to have an understanding. You know how we say, I got a gut feeling something ain't right somewhere. I remember my grandmother always saying that. And sure enough, those things happen. But the information that I downloaded, it was overwhelming. And we was fighting a battle with foreclosure court in Charleston, South Carolina, once I found out about the straw man, and that we all have an account in Wall Street with over $1.29 million into an account. And see, that's why I say you research everything and you get validation for yourself. So long story short, with heirs property, which it happens all the time in the state of South Carolina, we end up losing our property. So after 37 years of marriage and me battling the courts with that straw man account, and the judge, he agreed with me. He cleared the courtroom and said, Mr. and Mrs. Henry, y'all stay right there. We're gonna go on a small recess, but I want y'all to stay right there for a minute. And he acknowledged that I was on something, and that he said he going to throw it out of court, but he said that doesn't mean that they're not going to bring you back into another court. And it might not be up under him, because once you come in front of him, And if you don't have a continuous, then I will never see him again. And he knew I would never see him again as well. So we stayed in air property after my mom's had transitioned in 2009 for over 10 years without paying any taxes and without paying even a mortgage, because I was dead on it. Every time that they had the sheriff come said we had to be in court, I made sure that I was there to speak up. You see what I'm saying? And the thing that it is that when my mom's had closed at the closing to purchase the property, just with her signature, that property was already paid for. And that's why when a person transition on the tombstone, their names are in capital letters. And that's your straw man account. As a matter of fact, there's a young cat on TikTok that's teaching people how to access that account legally. Now you got to be punctual because
My friend was doing it before I left San Diego. I got the document.
Oh, okay. So they said you got to be very punctual because you can't end up in a federal court. And so he was tying that into the red letters on the back of your Social Security card and stuff like that. And see, all this is coming to the surface. Because I never thought about, well, why a person's name is in capital letters? We never thought about that because they caught us with our pants down because we was grieving. We wasn't reckoning. We wasn't reckoning.
We got these gatekeepers keeping us ignorant.
Yeah, that's those gatekeepers. Exactly. And that's why I say when we had relocated, first we went to Baton Rouge, Louisiana on a vacation. Now, after I had that heart surgery, triple heart bypass surgery, I agreed with the courts. I said, look, I'm gonna surrender my property. And but they said they'd go ahead and give us a check for $4,000 to relocate, right? So we already had everything boxed up and packed up. My wife, she's very punctual when it comes down to time of moving, which we only moved twice in our life. That's from Utica to South Carolina. And every box she had the name that it went in the living room, the dining room, the bedroom, the second bedroom, kitchen area. So we had everything boxed up, except what we use on a daily basis. So long story short, we took a trip to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We was right down the street from LSU. And let me tell you, my neighbor called me. I think we was there maybe 3 or 4 weeks later. He called me. He said, Mr. Henry. I said, yeah. He said, they got somebody that went into your property and got all of y'all possessions out on the front lawn. And I mean, new TVs, living room set, dining room set, kitchen appliance, because we just had got new appliance maybe 6 months prior. And he said, it's getting ready to rain. Do you want me to get any of your electronic equipment and stuff and bring it over? I said, yeah, please do. But I said, right now, let me hang up and call Georgetown Police Department and let them know the situation. So I did hang up with them and notify the police to let them know that, look, it's a 14-hour drive back to Georgetown from Baton Rouge. And I appreciate if an officer is there watching our possessions and everything. And we wasn't supposed to be out till a certain date and time. And at that time, we was going to receive a check, and then we was going to hand over the keys. Now, on our property was a corner house, so I had no trespassing sign on each corner. of our property. So that means that's a violation if you enter that property right there without, permission and without somebody being there. So anyway, suffices to say it was a cover up. Now this is going back to the Moors. With that, and see, I already knew my cause was already monitored, even to this day right now. And they knew exactly when we left. They knew certain documentations that I had, because I had files on top of files on top of files. You see what I'm saying? That I was going to use if it had came down to it. You know what I'm saying? And from the listening to my conversation to some very knowledgeable people, they knew that, say, oh, wait a minute, this is a black man in South Carolina. If people start listening to him, it's going to be a wrap for them. You see what I'm saying? And so their key principle is to get all my documentations and my files. You see what I'm saying? And the rest of it is just history, because a lot of my file cabinets and stuff, they wasn't there. Who gonna take a file cabinet with files in it?
You all electronics and stuff like that.
And a lot of my electronics and stuff like that. And then the day later, after I was there, because I was staying in a hotel, they tried to salvage some of the stuff, which I did end up salvaging some of the stuff. Somebody came and took my doggone Infinity. I said, something was missing. I said, where my car at? You know what I'm saying? And see, they knew, because see, on the corner of the property, they had the old street light that they just put up maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And they had surveillance cameras in there. And see, when I was running for State House representative, there was a lot of things that we said in executive chambers that never got out to the public. So they was monitoring a lot of people and the citizens in a lot of cities in the state. I know it wasn't just Georgetown. And with these different devices now, you see what I'm saying? So they knew exactly what way that whoever took my car, you see what I'm saying? And I did file a police report and everything. They knew exactly where it went at and who took it. So we got a multi-million-dollar lawsuit going against the state of South Carolina now. You know what I'm saying? So suffices to say, ain't nothing new up under the sun. When truth finally rise up to the top, in my conclusion, that we must act on it. We can't be like the past generation and sleep on it. Because I even tell some of the scholars now, respectfully, that they're talking about history. I said, whoa. Let's put that history thing on the back burner. Because right now we at war. There's a physical war and a spiritual war going on at the same time. Once we defeat and handle this, then we can double back with the educational system and teach our children. Because first you start teaching your children the queen, the goddesses, because we are gods and goddesses. And that's why we are in the era, we came out of the Bronze area, which is the immaculancy. Now we are in the golden age of the femininity, where the woman will rule. And I believe a little slight is that even as Pamela Harris get in the seat, it's going to represent something more deeper than we can ever imagine. Because see, the femininity of a woman, just like the image of Michelle being in her position when her husband Barack was there, the symbolism that was going behind the scenes with all them ceremonies, even sports and games, they always at halftime. There's always some kind of ritual that's going on. And we don't know how we are participating in those rituals without our knowledge, because we basically given up our energy. You see what I'm saying? So once I became aware of the cause and effect of different things, and people can just suck your energy out of you. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I say you gotta be aware of who you keeping company with. You see what I'm saying? And I know sometimes when I'm on different phone calls, that's what I call it, and I feel something, with that tingling in my face. I know something is drawing up my energy, so I end that call. And so all these putting in the proper perspective of how we as the gods and the goddesses is on the rise and awakening. And we call ourselves the enlightened ones. And we have a master plan. We have an agenda, an economic agenda that covers everything on the raw spectrum for the next generation to come. Rather it be dealing with advanced technology, we'll make sure that that technology is there to benefit everyone, because there's two resets that's going on that I'm aware of. One that we want to be a part of, and the other one we definitely don't, which is this society that's coming out, because it's like a friction of sandpaper. It's causing friction because one want to stay in existence, and the new world wants to come in and bring everything on an equal playing field. That number one, nobody will have any ownership. You will have a residence. Everyone will be given an X amount of money every year per household. And everything will be on an even playing field, that you can prosper the way that things are supposed to have been intended for in the beginning. But see, this old society, this old reset wants to stay in charge. They want control. They want to depopulate the earth. How can you say that the earth has so many trillion billions of people and it's time to get rid of some of them? Those guys, and I'm talking about Bill Gates and Pfizer. You see what I'm saying? They're not human beings. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people that's been cloned right now. The latest one that finally came out, Martin Lawrence died back in 2022 or 2021 that they're saying. And so the one that's there now, that's Martin's clone, Martin Lawrence clone. And there's a lot of them cloned. There's Hillary Clinton, a lot of other famous actors and stuff like that has been cloned as well. So when your third eye become open, that you can see through, how you say, the veil of Satan. You see what I'm saying? And let me say this too, in conclusion, you may agree and may disagree. Satan and God, they both wanted the same. I'm going to say that again. They both are the same. It's not two entities, because it's just like your car battery. You got a positive terminal and you got a negative terminal. One cannot coexist without the other, because that adds balance. When you see the halls of Ma'at, it's the sign of the Libra scale. Is balanced. That's why they said in the days of judgment, they weigh your heart against the feather to see is you worthy to enter through that gate. You see what I'm saying? A paradise of eternal life, because once we transcend from this side, it's going to the other. We asked to come back here, believe it or not. We asked to come back here to set the stage right. You see what I'm saying? Because we seen what was going on. And when I transcend, I ain't coming back because I don't want to come back. I want to go on. So that's why I stay on my post. I stay on my square. And I like using that terminology of what the Masons uses. And I think I might have like maybe, I think about 5 minutes. I got it plugged up into my charger. But I see it keep kind of like blanking out a little bit. So I don't know how much time we have left to do this broadcast and how much longer. So if it blanks out, that means that my battery kind of like didn't, and I turn my car on to make sure it's still charged up pretty good, but I can't see my battery life on my phone. And but I keep seeing it come in and out. So brother, you know, it was definitely an honor and a pleasure and a great opportunity to have this opportunity to speak with you and to share, you know, my life journey, my spiritual quest and everything. And rest assured that the Chief Elder Minister is definitely on the front line, and I'm doing what I'm here to do. Besides of bringing awareness and organizing, you know, different groups as well. So until next time, I appreciate you. You stay safe, keep your head up, and I be standing by for the next time.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna continue getting our house in order, fulfilling God's mission, what we were created to do. And I like what you said about Satan and God being one and the same. Because I always tell, try to get people to understand the Bible. God,
that's right. The
Bible says God is a spirit.
That's
and
right.
Satan is a spirit too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
That's what the whole spiritual warfare is all about.
That's right.
So I always appreciate your time. Like we say, until next time, God bless, and prosperity, and
Yes, sir.
That's the next phase that we're on, is to prosper.
Ashe. All right, and have a blessed, positive week in your days and journey ahead, and we chop it up the next time. Thank you.
I'm going to be inviting you to the meeting with the farmers again, so be on the lookout for that text.
Okay, definitely. We'll keep in contact with each other.
God bless, brother.
God bless. Hotep and blessings.
Hotep.